Hi and welcome to this recording today. I have invited Vin Morgan. Welcome.
Nice to be back with you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. And I'm so happy that you are back and we are doing this again.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier today and we decided to make a new recording, and that's very nice. So we had a topic, and I will read that topic. It's from a little part of a quote, and we're talking from that. And it's how to transform the hearts of those around you with your mere presence. So how to transform the hearts of others. Are we really doing that?
Is that a question for me?
Yeah. What do you say
Yeah.
about that, Win?
It's funny, right? So disclosure to you watching and listening. This is what Cecilia and I were chatting about earlier with this quote. Um, I think it's a lovely question, a lovely quote. I think there's at least three things in it that are just not true. Um, one of them being, well, what what do I do? What's possible for another person to transform in another person? How does transformation work is the question that that the first few words throw up for me. The second one is about transform the hearts of another person. And I remember saying to you earlier today, so it's like, wait a minute, I think everyone's heart is pure anyway. So that doesn't need any kind of adjustment. Everyone's heart is beautiful, gorgeous, pure. Something else might be helpful to transform. And then the role of presence, I don't know. We could explore that, you and I together, over the next kind of like 40 minutes or so, and let's see how we get along. So what comes to your mind as I shared my own kind of views on that quote?
I used to call myself a transform coach. And what I mean with that is that my experience of what changed everything for me in my from my dark time in myself, it's that I came to a point, a place inside myself that made this transformed shift. And it didn't come from anyone else, not from the outside, not from any methods, or not from no one else. It came from me, from the inside. And that's huge insight transformed me. So I could see that my heart is pure. I didn't know, because I was always looking out for others to make that shift happens to me. So when I say that I'm a transformative coach, I don't mean that I'm the one that transform the person I'm sitting with, but I do know that it make this huge shift in someone's life when they are guiding back to their self. That I, as a coach, have a deep understanding that the person I sit with can come back to themselves and get that experience from the inside. So I see that my mission to guide is to guide people home, back to themselves, to see that they have that home is home inside.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I can do for them, but I can make a little put guiding back. So in that case, I call it transform.
Yeah.
But it's not me doing it. I'm just guiding.
Yeah.
That's how I see it, when.
Yeah. That's a beautiful description. And that's, same as the way I see it. And one word that you said there, it happens via insight. I would have an insight. You would have an insight. That's not installed by you or me working with somebody. They have the insight. I have an insight. You have an insight. It happens inside. And that's in my mind how transformation works, is via a powerful, profound new thought that we call an insight. And exactly what you said, I mean, if you were, I could change that quote based upon what you just said, which would be something like, this is what I remember I heard you say. They transform to see how pure their heart is. They have an insight and it transforms them to see how pure or loving or wonderful their heart is. I mean, that feels an awful lot more true than the way that what I've made of that quote to begin with. And what's also wonderful is that, to me, truth does the work. Spiritual truth does the work. The truth of the purity of the heart does the work. Not me, not them, not you, not them. It's that they wake up to the truth. And the great thing is, if something is true, then we'll keep bumping into it without willpower, which is a really, to my mind, really important thing. So truth doesn't require practice. Truth doesn't require trust. Truth requires nothing of us. If it's true, it's working in the same way all the time. So to me, it does all the work for us. Does all the heavy lifting is done by truth. So I just love to remember that.
Yeah, true is very strong. It's so grounded. You feel like you can stand with your both feet on it, and you feel very comfortable in the knowing that this is true. It's no question about it. And that what I saw with myself. And then new thoughts come around in life with all kinds of things, but the truth that I know that I have wisdom of my own, it's so helpful in life. Because even
That's a
if I
beautiful
feel,
example.
even if I feel awful sometimes, which we all do, because things happen to us in life. There are many things happen, and it's hard sometimes to go through all these experiences. But if we know who we are and that we have answers that we can we can trust, or we can know that we can get the answer from, if we follow life. When life moves by itself, And I know that I want when I have my questions, I want it very fast. Oh, I want to know how to do with this and that. We all do. We all want to have our answer to everything very fastly, but I can remind myself now that, okay, I don't know now what's going to happen. So I have to slow down and make life force me forward.
It was something that you said reminded me of this. I am less likely to see my wisdom than you listening to me. And I am more likely to see, notice, and hear your wisdom than you are, because it's far easier to see it from the outside. In my mind, in my experience, it's seen that. So someone could look at my moment by moment life and go, that's wisdom, that's wisdom, that's wisdom, that's wisdom, that's your heart, that's your purity, that's your humanness, that's the beauty of you, that's the beauty of you. And me watching you, or me watching who's watching this right now, and listening to everything, it's so easy for someone else to spot that. And it's, in my experience, a lot less easy for me to see that in myself, because I'm looking that way, not this way. All I'm going to see when I'm looking this way is more of my psychology, typically, as opposed to more of the purity, until I notice, wait a minute, that is what makes me the same as everyone else. I'm not the exception, even though I think I am. And what helped me see I wasn't the exception was to see that everyone thought they were the exception. Literally, people would say, yeah, but I'm different. And I hear this hundreds of times every year. And I go, wait a minute, how come everyone thinks they're different? Oh, that's what makes us the same. Everyone thinks they're the exception. That's what makes us the same. What's that about? Yeah, we're just, when we can see the innocence and the purity in other people, sometimes a lot easier than we can for us. Which goes back to the whole, notion of, for you and I, in working with people, to point that out to people, because it's often invisible to them, and then they can have an insight and transform to see the purity of their heart and who they really are. And for me to see that, the one thing, one tangible thing that I keep remembering, and I'm very grateful that I keep remembering it, that what I think is nonsense. What I think is nonsense. What I think about me is just nonsense. It's just another story, another story, another story. Because the truth of who I am, going back to something you said a few minutes ago, the truth of who I am, the truth of who you are, is bigger than my psychology can imagine, bigger than my ego can imagine, more powerful than my ego. Thank heavens for that.
It's both powerful and sometimes very tired to go up in our head and have all these stories. It can be very heavy to have these stories going on and on and on and on and on, moving very fast, and we make up a lot of things, and sometimes when we have make up too many stories, it's so nice to just no, I just leave it. I just leave it. And then we go and do something else. And we see that when we take a break from all that, we can see what did I do? Well, what was that? All this messy stuff I had in my head. So I think we know when we take a break that it can slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very noisy when we are up in it, and it looks very serious and it's difficult to slow down.
To me, that is what makes the final part of that quote that you saw and you read out just now. What is it about being present to another human being? What is it that makes that so powerful? And in my mind, it's because it's far easier for someone to slow down when the person they're with is slow. It's just like person A, really slow of mind, heaps of presence in the now, apart from not caught up in their head. Person B, really caught up in their head. Person B is likely to move towards person's A state of mind. And when we are quieter, and the mind slows down without us needing to do anything about it. So person A slow, this person will slow down all of a sudden. Insights are more likely to be heard and noticed. And when people are in this state of mind, they can have an insight that transforms them to see the brilliance of who they really are. And that, in my mind, that's transformation.
But
So
I
it's
thought
not
it was the
informing
opposite
process.
before. I thought it
Go
was
on.
the opposite before. Oh, I thought I needed to get some advice here, how to do. You must do like this and this and this. We must have a strategy and doing something here. So you after that, after you have done that, then you can get quiet.
Right. A lot of people think that. I thought that too. As opposed to the best strategies and ideas come from the quiet. It's the wrong way around. It's like the horse and the cart, right? We put the cart before the horse. Well, no, the horse comes from a quiet mind. That's where the power is. And then a quiet mind pulls great ideas, strategies. Yeah.
And it's easy to do with the children, the parents. They have all the answers all the time. And I have also done like that, give them advice and tell them how to do here and there. But I stop myself now that I see that I don't need that. I can just I can just listen and see if they can calm down. And I've seen really how different that is to just take it from there. Because sometimes it looks very bad when they are coming home and they are upset and crying and like a parent you want to slow everything down quickly and but if you just, I can see the difference to just let the storm just let it out and not be afraid of all the feelings and emotions they are giving you right now. And then it's the kind of moving and it feels better.
Yeah. What's amazing to me is to notice that kids self-regulate really well. They can go from one feeling to the next and not resent the feeling that they were in a few minutes ago, and then they're free again and they'll feel something else and they'll feel something else with nothing on it. At some point, I think a lot of us, as we grow up, we think that some feelings aren't okay. We think that some thoughts are true, are ourselves. We buy into, we go from a once in a we have one spurious thought, one thought out of the blue, and then we think it again. And when we think it a few times about ourselves, all of a sudden that looks like it's true. It's become from just a, I don't know, a random thought into a recurring random thought that then became a belief that became my identity. But the truth is that none of that's got any foundation in reality. The great thing with kids is they're playing make believe a lot and they know it. We do that, but we don't know it.
Yeah, and I still think we have to have all feelings. Yesterday, I can share that my grandchild, she's 3.5 years old, and she wanted her grandmother to make meatballs. So I made that, and we were away the whole day. We were on a bus, English bus. It was the with 2 floors, and it was a fun day together. But she gets so tired, and I was also tired. And when we come home and was waiting for her mother, I gave her that meatballs, and she was not in the mood. And she took the flat and she turned it around, and the meatballs fall to the floor, and she just like this. And I get so upset. I have done this meatballs. Why are you doing this? Flowing it on the floor like that. But then I came back for a couple of minutes. I came back. I just had to react a little bit on it, and tell her that I didn't like it all that she did like that. But then I could come back again and see that, okay, she's tired, and she things happens when you are not in the mood and you are tired and 3 years old. So she came to me, and we were sitting in the sofa, and she lay down, and she was almost falling asleep, so tired she was. And then we just let it be. So we have those moments when we get upset, but it's the knowing that you can come back again. We must tell them if they do something. We must tell them to stop. But that's not who she are. She's not that behavior.
Yeah.
She's that loving grandchild I'm having there. But I didn't like the behavior.
And it doesn't mean you love her any less because you didn't like the behavior.
No.
Yeah.
But I do still think that I need to say stop.
Well, it's very useful for us to learn what is sociably okay and what upsets other people. It's helpful to learn that as we navigate life, I think. But I then think it just becomes, we just go, oh yeah, that's not smart. I love my grandmother. Of course I wouldn't, you know, tip this over all the time because I know that she's put time and love and effort into this, and I don't want her to feel bad. So, we learn things, but at the same time, some of the things we learn we think are about us at our true core and our identity to the heart. As that quote that you read out was all about. We think that's about our heart. No, it isn't. It's about an action, a behavior came from here. We were reacting to a thought that we had about our feeling state in the moment. That doesn't change who we are. For us as people who've been around for a few decades in this, you know, skin costume, then it's helpful to know that everything we've done is just an action based upon a thought, based upon a feeling, but it's not the truth of who we are. I find that really refreshing, so I can have a fresh story of myself in any moment. When I remember that, I can just like drop into that and remember, which thankfully I'm feeling very fortunate to be able to do that more and more as time goes on. More spending more time into the wonder of that as opposed to more time believing my insecure thinking, believing that there could be something wrong with me, believing that my heart need to be transformed. No, no, it doesn't. Nothing about me needs to be transformed, including how much I might like or love myself or not. That doesn't need to be transformed either, because that's just, oh, in the moment. It doesn't need to be fixed. It's an amazing thing to realize. And I remember when you and I talked before about how different that is compared to what I thought for the first kind of 40 plus years of my life. Very different.
Yeah, insecure can really fill up your head and moves you away from knowing who you are. And you get this feeling, uncomfortable feeling in your whole body. So it's not easy to come back to the knowing of who we are when you are so up in that. And that's the hopeful, what we are pointing to, the coaching we are doing, that
Yeah.
we can bring people home. It's not like the ordinary methods where you think that someone is broken and you need to change them, and you need to give them, they have something in their brain that doesn't are good. They need some medicine to fill up the broken things. So I just loved when I came across this understanding, when I felt that I'm not broken. It changed everything for me, the knowing of that. And it doesn't mean that I don't have awful moments, but I can see that it's feeling emotions moving in my body, temporary. And when that moving, we have that awful moving in our body, we have to step back a little bit and don't believe it. Don't believe that we are broken. It's very easy to think that we are when we are feeling all this. If we forgot, it's easy to forget that that this is not the case. It's nothing to fix.
You've reminded me of something I think is really important there, which is we think that those feelings have merit in something. So I can feel insecure because I am insecure. I can feel scared because the outside world is causing me to be scared. I'm hurt because they've done something to me, because that's how it works. That's how it looks. It's not true If I feel insecure, I'm really in the feeling of it. That feeling is a wonderful reminder of something else that's true, not the falsehood of it's coming from events coming from the outside. It's telling me I'm believing and listening to an insecure thought. And we do not have to believe or listen to what we think. Because as you said, I mean, it's energy and form in the moment that's constantly in flux, right? Constantly moving and changing. And it only lasts for as long as we buy into the thought that's in our head. But it's a reflection of the thought in our head, not a reflection on us nor our life. And what I find phenomenal with this is that I can think anything. That's a human being's one of human beings' greatest superpowers is that they can think anything. How imaginative we are, including imagining that we're not worthy of wearing this skin suit, or not worthy of, or not good enough, or anything about ourselves. We can imagine anything. Like, my brother's grandson is 5 today, so not much older than your granddaughter. Well, the last time I saw him and his sister, Violet, who's 6.5, we were imagining while we were playing certain things. We were, imagining that he was a crocodile and she was a dinosaur. Well, they're not a crocodile and they're a dinosaur. I can imagine anything. I can imagine anything about me. Doesn't mean I am, including things that look like they're more real, right? I can be a waste of time. Well, therefore, wind is a waste of time, a waste of oxygen. No, I can think anything. I can imagine anything about myself, and none of it happens to be true. There's a different feeling, and the feeling is the clue in my mind. What I'm seeing a little bit more of as the years go by is that the feelings are gifts telling me I am believing a lie about myself, and the worse I feel about me, the bigger the lie. And that's a heck of a thing to know. The worse
It's a
I feel, the
guide.
bigger the lie.
I see the feeling is a guide for me. I know where to look or to go or to believe or it's the energy. You feel the energy in a room. Without anyone telling you anything. You don't need to speak, you just feel it.
Say more about that.
We can know how people how present they are, or how they feel about the energy, when you feel the energy. So when you come in a room and someone is very upset or behavior like bad, you can feel the negative energy, but you don't need to go into it.
Mm.
You don't need to let it flow over you. But you can notice it, and you can notice that someone is very present and in a loving space, connecting to the pure heart.
Yeah.
So when you are up in your head, you are not really here. And I think that if you are going to help someone, to see someone, you need to be here. You need to connect. And when you connect with the eyes and the energy, things happens.
So you hit on a really, to me, an important point that again I keep forgetting. In my own work and working with other coaches too, right? Is the whole notion of I can notice the energy. I'm able to. I can notice how someone else is feeling. I am able to. It's within me to do that. And when I'm not able to do it, it's because I'm in my own head.
Mm.
My attention's on me, not on them. I'm up here. And that I know isn't helpful. Because if I'm coaching somebody, the only person that exists is them, really. My attention on me isn't a smart idea. I might have of course, the occasional thought of even, geez, I'm not listening well today. Oh, wow, I don't know what's going on with them. The initial thought is really helpful. It's a signal of, hey, I'm not listening really well today. Well, listen then. Hey, I don't know what's up with them. Well, maybe ask them. As opposed to then have another story about me, which takes me even further away from being present to them and noticing.
And we are human.
That's
We
always
are
going to be true.
human.
We are human.
So we go in and out. We go in and out in our head and in our life. We are dreaming all the time. So it's nothing wrong with it. It's just that sometimes when I talk to my children and they wanted to tell me something, I'm not always there because I'm up in my head. And I maybe I don't have the time right now to listen, and they feel that and tells me, you don't listen, you're not here. No, I'm thinking about what am I going to make for dinner? I'm going to that meeting. I'm blah blah blah. So then I'm not here and I'm not present. And you feel when someone is not listening to you. And you don't want to share anything to someone who's not here. And someone who is in a hurry. But life's going on, so you are sometimes in a hurry, and that's a human. So I have to be kind with myself and know that, like everyone else, I have moments where I'm not in the mood for that kind of presence. I'm in my head and I a lot of thinking going on, and that's also part of life. But then it's not the time for talk.
This has been lovely. As always, a lovely chat with you.
I feel the same, Win. I feel the same. Under the noise, like your podcast called. Yeah, under the noise. everyone can still have these moments under the noise when we can have a few moments rest. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's just some minutes. But we do know when we feel that place, when we get that rest.
Like now.
Yeah. It's a very nice place to end.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, in this quiet. Thank you so much for today. And thank you all, listener.
Yeah, thanks for watching and listening.
Yeah.
And thank you, Cecilia.
Thank you, Win. Thank you. Bye.